Hello and welcome to the channel, or welcome back if you are so inclined. In today's video, we're taking a look at these, the Quantum 1 from JBL. Now JBL were kind enough to send these out for me, and they do retail for around $200 currently on Amazon. So, as a wired headset, let's hope they're pretty good. Now, they are kind of a bulky headset, and they do weigh in at around 350 grams with the mic attached, which is kind of heavy. But with them being all plastic, they're very, very flexible, and you don't feel that mass on your head. Now, starting at the top, we've got the obligatory branding that we get on all gaming headphones / headsets nowadays. Coming underneath there, we've got the extraordinary nice amount of padding for these. As I said, they're quite a heavy headset, but they've really gone to town with the padding on the underside of the headband. We've got two separate sections. We've got a nice bulky section in the middle, which covers at the top of your head, and then these two little bits at the side that are protruding slightly more, just to help with that point loading, which is kind of nice. Coming down from the headband itself, we've got the exposed wires to the ear cups. Standard stuff nowadays. It's just black with an orange accent, which is kind of cool if you like that. And then we've got the standard extension arms. Now these are kind of loose, if I'm perfectly honest, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. If I'm putting these around my neck, I can just stretch them down so I can turn the headsets flat so it's not hitting into my larynx and feeling uncomfortable, which is kind of cool. And with them being loose, they're very, very easy to reset. Now, coming away from the arms, we've got the standard sort of forks that hold the ear cup to the headband itself, and this does allow motion on the vertical axes and the horizontal, so you can find that perfect fit around your ear. We've got all of the controls on the left-hand ear cup, including the microphone. Now we'll start with the mic. Now as you can see, there's two connectors on this mic. We've got the standard auxiliary cable, and we've just got this little bit of metal here, which presumably is to prevent you putting this in the wrong slot, because there is an auxiliary slot just next to it also. Coming away from the microphone, we do have the 3.5mm input to connect this device to the controller of a console, and beside that we do have the Type-C connector to connect this to your PC. Moving along from there, we do have the mute selector switch. Now, you don't get an audible noise to let you know that you're on mute with this headset, just a red light at the bottom of the mic boom arm. And next to there, we do have the volume wheel, which is an infinity wheel. It just keeps going and going. Moving up from there, we do have the button for centering your head. Now, we'll get onto this when we touch on the software shortly, but that's kind of a cool feature. We also have next to that the active noise cancelling. Now, the ANC on this works remarkably well. If you are in a busy environment and you want to drown out the rest of the world, then the active noise cancelling on this does a fine job. On the other ear cup, there's absolutely nothing. Nothing at all. It's just a nice headphone ear cup, which is all very nice. Now, the padding. Although the ear cups look very, very bulky, a good 40% of that bulk is made up by the extraordinary amount of padding around the ear cup. Now, there is sort of a leatherette around it and a memory foam. And when I first put these on, they felt a bit uncomfortable. But within a couple of hours, this is adjusted to my head quite nicely, and they were very, very comfortable. And on the inside, we have the L and R indicators to let you know which way around to put the headset on. But honestly, if you've got the mic in, putting these on the wrong way around would be quite difficult, because the mic would be sticking out behind your ear. But they are very nice. I like the way they're put together. They're very strong. They're very robust. There's nothing on this that feels like it will break. There's very little rattle. As you can hear, it just sounds like, I don't know, cushioning, hitting cushioning. There's nothing really there at all. And they are very, very comfortable after you wear them for a while. But in terms of build, very satisfied with this. You'll also see on the actual ear cup itself, we've got this nice JBL silver accent over this grooved bit of plastic, which looks kind of cool. And then you get these shiny bits here, which are the windows for the vast amount of illumination that you can kick out through this headset. But I kind of like the way they look without the lights on. But there we are. They're exactly what you would expect for around $200 mark. Let's move on. Now, as the JBL Quantum 1 is a wired headset, I can't do my mic test in the usual way behind the desk. So I'm just going to sit at my computer and I'll use the mic of the headset to discuss the actual software that comes with it. Now, the software is kind of similar to others. You do have all of the setup down here and all of the jazz over here, but let's run through it anyway, because there is a few little bits of difference compared to other pieces of software with this. Now, step one, just the equalizer, all nice and cool. You can change through all the standard presets here. Now, we've got bass boost, bass cut, clarity, flat, FPS, high-end boost, and long session. You'll notice there's nothing in there that deals with music or movies primarily at all. It just is what it is. This is very much a gaming headset that JBL have created, which is all kind of cool. Now, in the lighting, you'll see I have mine turned off because I think the headset just looks cooler without the lighting on. But if you are the kind of person that likes the unicorn vomit, there is all sorts of things that you can do here. Now, within here, I have this selected to Spectrum just to show you all of the colours that this can produce in that unicorn vomit-esque style, but you can roll through many different settings of them. Personally, for me, from personal preference, it's just off. I prefer the look of the headset. I think it looks quite stealthy. Then we've got the spatial sound. Now you'll see there's different options in here. You've got the standard off, which is just stereo, all very lovely. If you are to watch movies on these, I recommend the DTS. I wouldn't necessarily use it for gaming, but for movies, DTS is more refined. It just works better. So you can actually watch movies with these headphones. It works perfectly fine with this setting turned on. Then we get to the exciting bit. The JBL Quantum Sphere 360, all sorts goes on here. You can see, look, there's a picture of a head and dimensions. I haven't measured my head. I'm just going to stick with the standard 15 centimeters. It feels reasonable to me. Now, when you're in this setting, up here, you have what's known as head tracking. Now, turning head tracking off just means it doesn't track your head in any way. And you're probably asking yourself, why would this be useful in a game for the headphones to track my head? Well, I was struggling to find a use case for it, but I'll show you rather quickly. When you have this turned on, if you go to the equalizer option, you can see an image of the headset here. As I turn my head, the headset moves around, it tracks where I am. Now, as I said, I struggled to find a use case, but I was playing Warzone the other day, and my girlfriend came in, and I was in quads. She asked me a question, and I turned left to look. As I did this, a squad was approaching our building, and I heard that through my right ear cup, which meant that it was on the screen. It was a bit disorienting at first, but as I turned round, I was then prepared enough for when the squad entered the building. I was alone in quads, and I died rather quickly, but the point is, had my friends have not been dead, we would have stood a chance in this situation. Now, that was only one instance where I find a use from this. However, if you're gaming somewhere where there's lots of people around, if you have brothers and sisters that are always asking you questions, then this would be a remarkable function for you. But let's move on. So the microphone settings, all fairly standard. Now, you can't use active noise cancelling with this headset should you have the side tone on, which is fair enough. I totally understand that. Down to system software, all very samey. Make sure you do the updates, because I don't know how regular the firmware updates are for this headset, but I did have to do one as soon as I plugged it in. So there you are, definitely do that. And then you've got the help section, which is kind of cool actually. The user manual doesn't take you to a PDF, it takes you to the JBL website, and it's all nicely and clearly laid out. But they are very, very good. They are very good. The audio itself is all kind of cool. And when we go through the equalizer itself, now as you can see on this side, we do have the different presets. Now for me, I've got this set to flat just for the purpose of this. In reality, I know I get some people asking what my settings are. For Warzone, it's around this is my settings, and I add a little bit more, not to the full bass, just to get a bit more out of the explosions. This is the region of the equalizer where footsteps are, by the way, guys. Change these to your preference, absolutely, but if you are just wanting to highlight footsteps, go with this. Don't go too high because you'll pick up everything. But around this setting seem to work very, very well for me. But in terms of the audio of the headset, they're very good. They're very clinical though. However, there's not a great deal of emotion to the actual sound itself. Now, bass is there and it's very precise, but there's not a great deal of rumble to it. Now, everything else, all the other tones are there, and it is, as I said, very precise and very accurate, but kind of lifeless at times. Listening to music on these, it's more than passable. Don't get me wrong. These still are a 200 quid pair of JBL headphones, so they're still good with the music. However, as you can see from here, there's no setup for that. That's not what's in mind for these headphones, but they do work rather well. But there we are. Let's move on. So what do we get in the box of this $200 wired headset? Well, not as many wires as you get with most wireless headsets these days, but there are three, and we'll start with this one because it is a cool little bit of kit. So this is a sensor. It's like a mic sensor. You plug the earbud into your ear, whichever one. You put the headset on over the top, and you plug this connector, the 3.5mm, into the mic port of the headset itself. And this will help you with lots of different senses and get your headset set up exactly how it is that you want. And I really like that. I like that you can sort of refine your own equipment after you've purchased it. We also get the paperwork, by the way. Now, there is a quick start guide. One of the very few headsets where I actually looked through the quick start guide, to be honest, but there is some kind of useful information in that, and then the standard warranty, pointless stuff that nobody will ever read, or as I call it, the waste of paper. Then we have the main wires. We'll start from these two with this one. This is if you want to use controller with the headset. You can just plug this into your headset, like there, with the inline controls, and this into the back of the controller. Now, when you are connected to controller, you lose the functionality of the ear cups themselves. So there is a mute switch here, and there is a volume rocker on here as well, just so you can keep control of the headset. But as I said, when using this with controller, you lose the functionality of the buttons on the headset itself. We also have the pièce de résistance, the main cable. So this is if you're using on PC. You can use this on some consoles also, and all this is a 10-foot cable from USB Type A to USB Type C that connects into the headset. And then you have this inline chat to game balance mixer. Now, I like chat to game balance mixers. I do. I just think that this is extraordinarily big, with that being its only function, unless this is also acting as a kind of sound card for the USB, but it doesn't feel that way. It just feels like it's a massive bit of kit for no real reason, but it is good. I'll give them that in terms of the build. Now, the way I had this set up, my PC is on the right-hand side as I sit at the desk. So I had this into the back of my PC, ran round through my cable management system up to the left-hand side of my PC where this sat, and then this plugged into the left-hand ear cup. And it was very functional. Once you get used to it, it is very quick to use, it's very easy, it's nice and basic. I just wonder why, if they've got an inline chat to game balance mixer, this isn't just a smaller thing like this up here near the ear cup. That was rather confusing to me, but it is nice. The cable itself is braided, it's black and has these orange accents. Now, the only thing I found with the cable that sort of annoyed me a bit at the start was how robust and rigid this cable really was. Getting this set up, it had all of the folds, all of the rolls, and it was rather annoying and didn't want to straighten out. But after a while, it sort of starts to bend to how it is that you want it, and it sort of starts to nestle in to your setup on the desk. So I'm not going to mock it for that. The cable itself is very thick to keep that audio quality there, and I appreciate that. I really do. I think the equipment is very well put together, all of it. All the cables are braided. You have this nice orange connector at the side, which is an odd shape, but that odd shape makes it much easier to plug and unplug. Like I said, they've got the orange accents. If you're into that kind of style, then these are perfectly for you, but everything feels very well built, and I like that you get this. I think this is a good little addition. But in terms of what's in the box, it's exactly what you'd expect, but slightly better. The quality of it all is very, very good. Using the headphones, when I'm using a controller, they were a bit quieter. I think these are 32 ohm headphones, and controllers using batteries not necessarily kicking out enough juice to get the full potential of the headset, but they work perfectly fine, just as clear, just as natural sounding, just a bit quieter. That's all. But in terms of what you get in the box, exactly what you'd expect. The unboxing experience with this is kind of cool. I like the way the box is set up. A quick start guide that has actual function with a headset. Yeah, all very good and pleased. But there we are. That's what's in the box of this $200 wired headset. Now, in terms of compatibility, this headset is pretty much compatible with anything that has an auxiliary connection port on it. Literally anything. It uses that 3.5mm as an auxiliary cable, which is the perfect use case for it. Now, it does say on the box that these are optimized for PC, and they are. You can use all of the settings. You can use the chat game balance mixer with the USB cable, all of that jazz. But they are still compatible with everything else that receives a 3.5mm jack. So, in conclusion, would I recommend buying this headset? Well, given what we've just said, for console, $200 on a headset is probably a bit too much for me, to be honest, especially when you lose a lot of the functionality that comes with this headset. But on PC, yeah, absolutely. If you're prepared to use a wired headset, which a lot of people I know absolutely are, they would sooner use wired than wireless, then cool. Go for this. The sound quality is on point. It's natural sounding. It's precise. The mic is very good. You have the inline chat to game mixer, which is always a benefit. Yes, I don't necessarily understand why the thing is so big, but that's irrelevant. It's still there, and it is very well built. So yeah, if you're gaming on PC and you want a wired headset, then this is definitely something that you should consider. They sound very, very good, and JBL do come with that audio background, which is very, very highly regarded. So there we are. From me, if you're on PC, yep, definitely worth the money. If not, probably not. There's probably better options for you. But thank you very much for watching, everyone, and thank you to JBL for sending out the headset for me to take a look at. I very much appreciate that. But yeah, if you like what you saw, please do leave a like. If you want to see more content like this, then why not subscribe and hit that notification bell. But yeah, there we are. Have a good morning, noon, evening, wherever you are in the world. Goodbye, everyone.